I've got some new projects coming down the line, and so I thought I would get back to it. And as many of you know, I've been going through a lot of changes. I'm not gonna get into that today. I mean, I've talked enough about it in previous episodes. I really just want to get back to doing some art, developing publishing projects. And this is a very, very special project that I'm doing right now. And of course, I don't have the other page handy. Maybe I'll see if I can find it. But Kai Murros has written a short 2-page comic and hired me to illustrate it. So if you don't know Kai Murros, Kaimurros, strongly recommend that you look him up. He is a colossal figure in our movement, and if you don't know who he is, then shame on you. um, Extremely inspiring, phenomenal speaker, and a great friend, and all that other stuff. So anyway, we're gonna work on this a bit. I'll check to see what sort of comments I might have. I didn't announce this. Hello, Bodacious. Good to hear you too, man. Or good to have you here. I didn't advertise for this, but just going for it. I know that a lot of people have subscribed to my channel, so they'll probably get a notification. Um, just gonna kind of cruise here a bit. The future is looking really good in terms of projects and streaming and just growing and developing better content for the YouTube channel. So lots to look forward to. Still taking time, to get things organized. Working full time and doing this, on sort of the time that I have left is quite difficult to do. I have some pretty heavy financial responsibilities, but one cannot stop being oneself. So I persevere. And anyway, so just chatting up a bit, I am writing an original graphic novel, and that's the big thing. I'm super super jazzed about. Very very excited about doing that. We'll be getting to that, I hope, next month. I really could start illustrating that, but it's just nice to have the whole thing written out. I don't know. It's just sort of, for me, that just feels better, I guess. But there you go. So, okay, so this comic that I'm illustrating is going to be fully colored and lettered, and, will look like an official comic, as if it's sort of like Marvel quality type content. Um, the storyline is pretty disturbing. It's essentially a white slave market in the UK, and yeah, and it's again, it's Kai's script. I think we're gonna let the piece stand for itself. A lot of times one just wants to put the artwork out there and then kind of let it live on its own, have its own merits, so to speak. Um, Let people come to it and respond to it in their own way, etc., etc. So there it is. Yeah, I'll see if there's a comment or two. I just don't like to ignore the audience here. Okay, and away we go. So with inking, there's different materials you use, and like I use this kind of brush type marker when I'm doing more organic things, like this guy's robe. It's got a sort of a flowy, roby, fluid quality to it or something, and so the brush lends itself really well to that. Whereas architecture, you're going to use different types of markers for that. In the old days, they used crow quill pens. That's like the kind that you dip into ink. You've got these little metal nibs, is what they're called, and they kind of look like crow beaks. Um, and they would give you like a hard graphic line for those sort of like architectural parts. They can be fluid too if you're good at it. Um, yeah, I have a pair somewhere of these Crowquill pens. They're very nice, but I guess just straight talk, like you don't have to keep drying, like dipping it, and it doesn't dry out, and you just it's just so much more convenient to use these kind of pens. But I had sort of a big sort of artistic hang up about doing that. Like I thought it was sort of like, oh, I don't know, like not traditional, and I'm kind of wanted to stay traditional, but in the end, if you can get good work that has good quality to it, it's not super important what materials you're using, as long as you're getting kind of the effects that you need. Um, and these work beautifully. So there you go. I have to say it's a little hard talking and working at the same time. One wants to focus, but just trying to see. It looks like there's maybe I got 5 people here. Let's see if I can see the messages. Oh, hello, Julia. Thank you for joining. I believe we're on Twitter together, right, Julia? Like I think we respond to each other there. So Kai Murros is the author of this comic strip here, and like I said, it's a Muslim slave market selling white girls in the UK, and obviously that's a pretty inflammatory subject. I mean, it's clearly meant to get people riled up in a way as to which to cause them to do something that would stop this. There's a very serious crisis in the UK that I think we're mostly all aware of. Don't need to comment too much on that. But thanks to everybody who's joining me. It's just my art streams are very chill. I don't know. To be honest with you, I'm kind of thinking through like, well, what could I do to make these streams more entertaining? I'm not, what's the word? It's a work stream. Like I'm working, I'm doing my art, and I just feel like it's great to be able to do this together, or to show you if watching me work interests you and entertains you. That's awesome. You can certainly chat a little bit, talk a bit. I don't know, I can share my thoughts on things. I don't know that I'm anybody special to take questions, something like that. But I certainly have my points of view, and I'm fairly outspoken about them. But that's more of like where I would post thoughts on online. I feel like I don't know, Twitter, Gab, these sorts of places are better for talking, in terms of like getting into some important discussions on stuff, what have you. So it's sort of jumping around a bit with these different characters. Like when jumping around meaning like going from here to there, on the page. It's hard to get a really objective view of one's own art. You're kind of limited to sort of what your I guess your skills can do. Um, Drawing is, in a sense, it's like or art, I should say, visual art of this kind. It's like we all have a signature. When you write your name and you have a signature, that's how you write your signature. It's just sort of inborn into you in some kind of sense. And the same goes for the way that you draw. I feel as if the way you handle a pen or a marker, etc., is just sort of organically coded into you the way that you would sign your signature. So, it's quite a feat if you can imitate another artist, and or I kind of have that kind of skill, and there were people like that, especially at places like Marvel Comics. John Romita Sr. got what was it? So he got the Steve Ditko's Spider-Man job because he was able to draw like Steve Ditko, and I think from their sort of corporate publishing perspective, the thinking was, well, we don't want to jar the audience too much by switching styles. So we need somebody that can draw like Steve Ditko did, Ditko being the guy that designed Spider-Man. Um, so that's always just a big discussion in the comics world is like, well, who really owns these characters? Is it the person who came up with the concept or the person who designed it? I think it's fair to say that it's both, really, right? It would be a shared ownership, if you will, but that's not really how it plays out at the end of the day. Um, Stan Lee is known as the guy that invented Spider-Man, but then there's also sort of like the corporate ownership. Um, this guy named Jack Kirby, who's he's very very famous in the comics world, and he has a kind of a protege who wrote his what do you call it, his autobiography, not auto, his biography. And there's a story in Jack Kirby's life where they were out at like it was like, I don't know, sort of a plaza supermarket, some kind of place, and there was a toy store, and the toy store had all these Hulk dolls and these Marvel Comics dolls and characters and such, and uh, the the guy, the protege or whatever, was kind of saying like, hey, let's go in here and check out these toys, and thought it was all cool, whatever, whatever. And Kirby was like, get me the hell out of here. I don't want to see any of that stuff. And, talking to him later, he's realizing, like, imagine having designed all of these characters and not getting a penny from the royalties or whatever, all of that stuff. So, you know, um, you can see that how unfair that would be. But yeah, it's just a little bit of comics history there. Let's see if there's any comments. We'll see. What do we got? Kai Murros is a hero. Absolutely. Rise of the Right. Thanks for joining. Handsome Horse. It's Handsome Horse is here. Oh my God, people. Holy hell. That's my man right there. All right, good stuff. Yeah, Kai is. He's Kai Moros. I'm nerding out pretty hard, doing like a Kai Moros comic book. We talked about this, God, like 2 years ago or something. Um, I've spoken to him by phone and all this kind of stuff, and um, just like a crazy, massive fan of his. He's a tremendous person. Anyway, there's not much I can say without just blubbering. A blubbering fan. Um, so yeah, so we're putting this little thing together, and should be pretty awesome. Will there be more? Like, I mean, that's kind of the thinking I have, is like, whoa, could this be the start of a cool collaboration that could grow? I mean, that's how I am. I always think ahead and kind of nerd out about, like, well, maybe this and then that and then the next thing, and I'm already planning on what I'm going to do with my $1 million that I make from this. I guess it doesn't hurt to look ahead, think positively, does it? I don't know. But still, it's all about the movement and getting the ideas across, etc., etc. So yeah. But like I said, I don't know what could I do that could possibly make these streams a little more entertaining. I feel like maybe I should break it up into sections where maybe I have a guest on for a while. Um, I don't know. I mean, I'm not. It is an art stream. It's pretty much meant to be that. So I don't know. I'm not really looking to try to become another entertainer or another commenter. There's so many people out there with shows, and they're doing a great job. Like, I don't feel as if we need another one, or that I need to be the guy to do that or something. I'm an artist, musician. I feel as if I should be making more music, to be honest. Music's very time consuming. There's a lot of just a lot of time, equipment, and it's not the easiest thing to do. Anyway, check in on the comments here. Vardabach is back. It is so cool to have you guys with us here. Good to see you, AZ. Nice. So, I've got a new website. What kind of music? Neo folk. Hello, Will M. Welcome to the stream. Well, if you're at this channel, you can look around my YouTube channel and see my music. I've got a whole section of just my music. I would say it's a kind of alt rock, I suppose. My original music is sort of alt rock. I don't know. Anybody else in the chat? Could you describe my music to Will? That could be helpful. The cool thing is that I did a musical collaboration with a guy who goes by the name of George Freud, like Sigmund Freud, and he's off the charts, phenomenal. The dude is like a very high level composer, producer. So, he approached me like, hey, would you like to collaborate? I had a few people approach me, to be honest, but I feel like I need to get back in touch with him and be like, yeah, man, like, music is a really, really powerful form of propaganda, I suppose, for lack of a better term. And I mean, that's an old, right. That's an old debate. Art as propaganda. Is should it be more purist, or da 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 da. There's all kinds of questions and topics on that. Like, we can sort of get into that or whatever. But it is music. It's meant to. It's music. It's enjoyable. It's from my heart. Da 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 da. But it's just that anything about white identity is automatically political, and I'm okay with that. I don't shy away from that. I think it's absurd to be ashamed of being white. That's the opposite of pretty much what we are. I mean, there's so much to be proud of and happy about to celebrate. Um, so the song I did with George Freud was kind of like a techno pop is the best word I could describe for that, and that's because he wrote the music. So I wrote the lyrics, I did the vocals, and I made the video for that. Someday is today. You can check that out. And when you come to the site, that's like one of the first things you'll see on my YouTube site. I mean, and yeah, I'm really really proud of it. And it's kind of devastating to look at that and go like, you know, if I could do that, what more can I do? You know, there's so much that I could do, and it's I think that that's the problem with all artists is the sense of time and money and resources and being like, okay, I want to do this full time, and we're always sort of trying to figure out how can we do that, with this graphic novel um, that I'm going to be live streaming. I will be asking people for donations so that like I'll be doing all of the the line art like what you're seeing now, but the what do you call it, the what's it called, the digital coloring and lettering, that I have to outsource, that I have to hire people to do that, and that costs money, especially if you want quality, so the concept though is that like if anybody donates say more than 300, I'll give them one of the pages of art that I have, like the comic book pages they get to choose. It have to be sort of a first come first serve type thing, but you get the idea. um I have made a new website. It's kent-art.weebly.com, and I will see if I can put that in whatever in the comments or whatever later, when I have time. But that's really a place just to check out my portfolio, link up to some of my comics if you want to purchase them online, and then also a place to kind of like communicate. There's like a comment section, there's a donation area. Um, what else? Uh, yeah, so that's about it. And it's essentially a place to kind of lead people to the YouTube channel, because I feel as if like the YouTube channel is really gonna be where all the action is in terms of like watching me create the art and communicating with my audience, etc. I got a long way to go. I mean, I know that. I'm just, I've got something to show right now for this Kai Murros project. So here I am, But getting set up to do the whole Donald Kent graphic novel project is still taking a little bit of time. Um, a couple ducks I have to get in a row, if you will. Um, Looking at doing an LLC, um, blah blah blah, all that kind of boring business stuff. Let's see if there's any comments in here. Okay, what's going on here? Let's take a look here. Welcome to everybody. Let's see, Camaros, Vardabach, Will, let's see, neo-pagan hardstyle. Bruce, that's an interesting musical genre right there. What do we got? Did you meet Kenneth Brown? Yes, he actually he came to my house, and I have an interview with him in my basement, actually, just sort of like a social area. I enjoy the Smiths and Depeche Mode by Will and To Pagan Black Metal. Okay. Um, let's see. Bruce says music allows a story to glue itself to your soul. The most powerful listening films are those with memorable scores. Perfectly said. Who are some right wing painters? That's a tough question. Let me get back to that. Will says Carrie Bolton has a book on artists. Bruce, I'm looking to furnish my house with some more paintings. Don't even know where to begin. Haha. So I take commissions. The problem with me is that I've been freelancing for like 20 years, and I'm trying to get into a space where I'm just going to do my own work now. And I mean, imagine somebody saying, like, oh, I'm here, I'm going to pay you to do an art commission. It's very hard to say no to that. You know, it's very, very hard to say no. You guys can see in my previous videos, there's a painting I did, a very large watercolor painting I did of the sacking of the temple at Jerusalem. It is a duplication of a famous Italian painting, and it took me a long time to complete this. But you know that you know, I got to say how much money I made, but I made a lot of money on that. You know, and you know, getting paid to paint. I mean, come on, that's a dream come true. You know, that's a beautiful thing. So I think occasionally I do take commissions based on like whatever the thing is. So like Kai Moros comes to me, says, "Hey, I want to commission you. I don't even care what it is. The answer is yes. You know, it's Kai Moros. You know, so you know that's pretty significant, right? But it's that we don't have a lot of painters in our sphere that I'm aware of. There's a Canadian vlogger by the name of Geo, who probably people in the chat could tell you about Geo. His style is very, very loose. You have to kind of really, I think you would really have to, you know, be into that style in order to want to commission him. It's very visceral. His, what do you call it? His prints are really powerful. He does like woodblock printing and all this other stuff. Uh, really, really cannot speak highly enough of Geo. He's a fantastic human being. Um, great, great guy. So you could look into that. Um, I find a lot of our artists are digital artists. There's something called the Patriot Arts or Patriot Arts that's out of the UK. That's an interesting group. Um, a lot of this stuff is on Telegram. Um, I don't, you know, I don't know if the White Art Collective has new painters. There's been a lot of new members in the past year. It's quite tremendous to see how many new people are joining the White Art Collective. I'm very, very pleased about that. Um, I'm not really active in anything right now, mainly because I'm coping with some new situations in my life that need attention. Um, Obviously, I love everyone in that community, and I'm always kind of just a text away, you know. But I would look into the White Art Collective for that. Um, Even if it's not traditional painting, you could score some really beautiful digital art. Jayla Dark is one of my favorites in the group. I actually own some of her prints and had the pleasure of hanging out with her at the first White Art Collective Music Festival. Fantastic lady, and she's been on my my shows, my YouTube shows and stuff. Um, I feel like there was a question that I skipped. Let me go back here. People talk about Salvador Dali and Francisco Goya, but they both seem very grim. That is a really, really interesting point. Moralizing art, yeah, more. That's see, you really, really nailed it. I mean, there's a place for kind of dark art, if you will, or arts that have that kind of darker perspective. But we're surrounded by like demoralization all the time, and so I'm more kind of with you in terms of like I'd like to do something more moralizing. This is Kai's story, and it's not demoralizing. It's meant to, I guess, make people kind of angry and like kind of set a fire under them to get them to do something. It's a very, very tough topic. I know that in the UK, that's not something that you can talk freely about. Blah blah blah. There's a lot of stuff, but anyway, I'm with you on the moralization stuff. Salvador Dali, I think, is more like, I don't know, diverse is a terrible word, but like he has a lot of range in the stuff that he produces. So I would maybe give him another chance. There's more to him than meets the eye. Uncle A was a good painter. Let's see what we got here in the comments. People talk so much. Sven Stoffels is great. I'll have to look him up. Maybe you could post a link, Will. Sven Stoffels. I don't know that name. Giant Geo Art. Thank you. Yes, that's the guy I was talking about. I'm talking about historical painters. Anyone new in Australia? I'm not sure what I understand what you mean, Mike. Anyone new in Australia? Martell. Oh God, yeah, Dave Martell. I'm assuming you guys know I work with Dave Martell. I'm looking for. All right. Well, there you go. So one of the tricky parts of doing comics is, for example, being able to draw the same face over and over, and make it look like the same person that you in every panel. Takes a certain je ne sais quoi. No, it's just like it's just some concentration. My I guess my approach to it is to, I don't know how to describe this, but I see things in terms of shapes, and of course the scale of different things, but my eye is following the say the curve of the face here, and so I just in a sense repeat that line here. And then adding expression is another thing. It's all these little cues that one uses in the arts, specifically in, say, comics and stuff, where it's a very dramatic art form. You really have to know like body language and all these kinds of things. I don't know if I'm making sense. I appreciate you guys spending a little time with me. Again, if you have any ideas to make these art streams more fun, interesting, informative, I'm all ears. Like I say, I'm primarily focused on the work. It's nice to just sort of chat and you know check to see what you guys are saying and respond. In a sense, we're just kind of hanging. You know what I mean? We're just buds hanging out. Which is nice. a lot of people say that these streams are very relaxing. And so I think, okay, cool. Okay, there's something that I suppose I'm providing a little bit, it's a little mental health time, I guess. I don't know. For myself, I can certainly say that, I enjoy watching uh, artists that I like. I like to watch them draw, paint, whatever. Um, as an artist, of course, I'm looking for, well, what are the tricks and techniques? What can I steal, if you will? Um, Stealing in art isn't really, I mean, that's just a word. There's nothing really new under the sun, and ultimately, you're gonna end up making something your own. Like I said, you've got your own handwriting. You have your own sensibilities as an artist, and there's nothing. How do I put it? Like you're kind of locked in on that. So go ahead, steal. Steal at will. Just take what you can, make the best out of it. Um, it's nice when you can kind of tip your hat at other artists in a way, and you know use something that I don't know, in a way, like to like sort of visually quote them in a sense. It's like there's certain musicians that might play a phrase from a famous song or something, and it's a nice little tipping of the hat, to whoever it is that they're mimicking. Wow. Okay, so what else we got here? Check the chat a touch. Let's see what's going on with my guys here. Butch Killigan is a digital comic book. He's working on. I'll have to look it up. Look about Austrian painter Uncle A. Yes, love his work. I like that Russian painter that does those Hyperborean pieces. I'd like to know who that is. Um, I like. Okay. So yeah, there you go. Now the paper that I'm using here is kind of smaller than the standard comic book size paper. Um, I started off doing the sketches for the story on it, and then of course I showed that to Kai, and he loved it, um, and then I thought, you know what, I think I'll just work off of these sketches. They look good. I like them. I like the flow of it, the feeling of it, and having to reproduce all of this on another sheet of paper in pencil and then go inking in. It's just more work. So so long as I can keep the quality there, then I think we're all set. Every once in a while, you'll see something in a piece and be like, wow, like, oh, I think I should add another person here, or you know, fill this out over there, a little correction here or there, So it's nice to be able to sort of go in and change things at will. So it's like three guys what they're doing is they're bidding on this girl, and like all three of them have their hands up in the same position. It looks like they're at a rally or something. It's kind of, it doesn't actually look like an auction, and try to make it look more like that. I know that's a hideous kind of topic, and it's funny because like I was never, yeah, obviously not leftist, right? But like I was never in the leftist mode of thinking like, oh, art is supposed to upset people, I'm like, why, like I never liked that sort of mentality, and it's a very leftist kind of mentality. But now I'm doing, activist art, if you will. And I see, yeah, you're right. It should upset people, regarding things that are related to, white demographics, white genocide, all of the problems that we have. It's important to, I don't like to say upset people, but like to get people responding to it. Let's put it that way. You know. Certainly not all my art does that. All right. Let's see if there's any more comments. So, joke. Like the Russian painter, look his name. Alexander Uglanov. I'll have to look him up. Yeah, so like I say, I'm not. It's just not my character to be like, oh, I have to use art to upset people. It's not kind of where I'm at or who I am. But art has power. And if, how do you wield that power? This is an important question. There's a pretty big discussion online on Twitter about anger and hatred and these things. And like my what I'm proposing is that we love our people more than we hate our enemies. That we use love for our people as the fulcrum of it all, as the anchor of what we do. If if I was filled with hatred or whatever, I could do really awful, disgusting art that's just insulting, and like, to me, that's like, that's not who I am. I mean, that's kind of juvenile, I think, in its own way. Um, you want to inspire people. I usually have music on in the background, when I do these streams, and then I get, some kind of a notification from YouTube, like, oh, that's. But what's weird is they'll say like, this is not a strike. Um, it's confusing. I'm gonna have to kind of look at it a little more closely because I'm putting on music that's like essentially copyright free. I don't want. I'm not gonna play. Music that's copyrighted. Because I want to be able to just concentrate on the work but have something nice in the background. You know, and I don't even know that you guys can even hear it actually. It's a little distant, but that would be nice to, if anybody knows of any copyright free music that I could use for the show, that'd be nice. It's interesting because this I have another comic that deals with Islam. It's the John Delarose superhero Kickstarter called Dynamite Thor, and John Delarose is probably I I think it's safe to say that he's one of the top well-known guys in the comic skate scene. He really produces a good show. It's always enjoyable. Um, just a lovely guy, you know. Like he's just very bright, very funny. He's got his heart in the right place, and he's a good entertainer. Like he's entertaining to listen to. So I got lucky, and he wanted to work with me on this Golden Age comic book project, Dynamite Thor. And so that's out there. You can the link to that's at my website also. Um, yeah, I mean, if you can even just Google it too, Dynamite Thor, But yeah, in that particular story, you've got a guy. For starters, the character is a revamp from a 1930s public domain superhero by the name of Dynamite Thor. And his power is that he can withstand dynamite, he can withstand explosions. And so it's kind of a funny, it's a silly, fun comic. It's sort of like the type of comics that, you know, are silly fun, it's just meant to be that way, Um, make comics fun again. That's pretty much the mantra with Comicsgate, because like we're also sick of the whole woke agenda crap. Everybody's tired of that, right? And it's just nice to get back to having a good time. I would say that most of the guys kind of leading, or that I'm aware of, in the Comicsgate scene, they're not like, I wouldn't say that they're actually very political. They're just kind of average guys that don't want to make, transgender comics. It's like they don't want to toe the line. They don't, they're just normal, normal people. And it's weird when normal people are put under these kinds of stresses, we're demonized and hunted and doxxed or this or that, or all the harassment that we go through, of which I've been through my share. You get the idea. So it is what it is. And I don't know. I mean, I think it seems like maybe they're becoming more political in some regard. I think that everybody is growing from what's happening, from Trump to COVID to Kanye. Like it's all coming down the line here. And unless you live in a bubble and you are aggressively trying to not grow, then I don't see how you can't be learning from what's happening in the world right now. Check the comments real quick here. See if I can find the other page for you. Give me 1 second. So this is page 1 of the project. We have like an English town, but it's obviously filled with Muslims. You can see the story reveals itself a bit, as you can see there, and then this would be part 2 of that. It's just a very short story. That's it. To me, this 2 pages is not enough. I want a lot more. Quick aside, here is a new piece I did for the Bizarchives. Dave Martell commissioned me to do this. As he describes it, a feral female vampire. So this is kind of what I came up with. I remember like my first shot at this, I didn't like it, and I'm like, come on, I grew up on like heavy metal comics and stuff. I should be able to draw like a sexy feral vampire girl. Don, did you do a comic with Mark Brahman? Yes, I did, and welcome, Judge Holden. I'm happy to have you here with us. That's called The Seraph, and it's still on Amazon, but it's only in ebook form, so it's not a physical book, but you can download it to your phone, tablet, computer, and I'm very, very proud of that. That's also linked up at my website, kent-art.weebly.com. Okay, we need more Jim Hansen. I love Farscape. Yeah, cool. I remember my brother had one of those comics. I'm just reading through the comments here. Don't like it. Okay, there you go. So you guys can hear the music. It's just very, very vague, but I find like chill jazz, like coffee shop jazz, is like it's an easy go-to for live art streams. I love music and I'm crazy about music, and so I'd be at the computer like, oh, I want to hear this song, I want to hear that song, blah, 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 and then I don't get any work done. It's like I'm DJing, my own show, so to speak, and then I'm like, okay, put something on that's nice background music, and then focus on the art. So there it is. But yeah, so here we are, folks. This is a comic that I'm doing for Kai Murros, drawing attention to the grooming gangs in the UK. It's a very, very hideous, horrible crisis going on over there, and using comics as a form of activism. So wait till you see the graphic novel that I'm writing and working on. I cannot wait to start with that, but I still have some preparations to do. What do we got here? Is the vampire babe red-headed? What an interesting question. So the commission was simply, I need a pencil drawing of a feral female vampire. Is she red-headed? I could kind of feel that. I would say maybe yes. I'm feeling that. Like there was never any intention to color this, but if I did, I would give her red hair. And I mean, vampire blood, red, bing. They go together. It's not like not too crazy. One thing that I don't know, I like is just sort of little things like her jewelry. Like adding just tiny little things that give it a little life of its own. The pentagram bracelet, I like. That's a whole other topic, because like these pentagram jewelry thingies are very popular with all the like hipsters, clubsters, leftists, what have you. Like they're like, I'm being rebellious. It's like, you're like, do you really want Satan as your symbol? I mean, do you even know what that is? But I mean, I don't know. It's sort of a quasi new age hipsterism, I guess. But in a case like a vampire, that would make sense. So how long have we been running here, guys? This is about 54 or 55 minutes. Tell you what, I will take one or two questions if you have any, and then I think we'll wrap it. I think an hour of my sleepy voice and my drawing is maybe enough for the internet. I don't want to overdo it, or otherwise I might break the internet. So any I'll maybe zoom in on this a bit. That would be kind of nice. Hold on. See how close I can get without the camera wigging out on me. What is your dream cover to do with Bizarchives that you haven't done yet? That's an excellent question, Will. So So, like, if I had more time, I would really like to get back into oil painting and do something that is like kind of a Frank Frazetta style sci-fi cover. I think that would be uh, a neat thing to do. But like I said, oil painting is just it's its own thing. It's actually very expensive, the materials and all that stuff. Um, it's a tough question. Like, of course, I love monsters. Um, and I think that whole world of sci-fi. Let me put it this way: Dave is a really, really, really good art director. He, I would almost say he's like a frustrated artist in the sense that, like, if he could draw and paint, he'd be phenomenal. So he's got the writing skill. He's, a brilliant speaker, brilliant writer, but if you could only put a brush in his hand, then you'd have the next Frazetta in this world. So having discussions with him where he gets just crazy and excited about, okay, it's going to be this and it's going to be that and we're going to add this part, and him and I, we both know the same language. We have the same kind of, we speak the same language in terms of like the comics that we grew up on and the things that we love. Here's a quick example of, like, a heavy metal comics cover, beautifully painted. This one's sort of more sexy or what have you. But yeah. Anyway, so like it's just fun to take direction from him. It's great to work with him, and I mean that's. I hope that someday that business can actually be like full blown, and I could like work for him full time. That would be phenomenal. Okay, just I'm checking the things here. I'm the same with art ideas, but yeah, well, I don't know. Work on those drawing skills if you can. I want to thank everybody for joining me today. There'll be a lot more to come. Again, I'm wide open to any kind of suggestions or anything like that. And I'm just extremely grateful for your time and your company. So thank you so much.